Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. Now the subject of today's video is something that was spurred on by a comment that somebody left on the Facebook group that we run, Lightwork for Lightworkers. And what this person said in short basically was that they felt like they weren't as woke as some of the other people, and also they spoke about their struggles with attempting to meditate in the traditional manner. So I kind of wanted to respond to both things. I responded a little bit on the group, but I get the sense that this is something that a lot of people struggle with when they're first getting to learn about their gifts. So I figured let's do a video about it. So the first part, feeling that somebody is more woke than the other one. Absolutely not the way it works. This is not a leveling system where somebody is higher than the other, okay? This is not vertical, this is horizontal, okay? And we're all on the same path. And the only difference between anybody, really the only difference is an awareness of what your gifts actually are. And, you know, I've spoken a lot about my own personal experience where I talked about like the letter that the people that see me with the dogs at the river left for me, and I was completely unaware that I was giving all these people joy by seeing me at the river with the dogs. And I've talked about the hundreds of people that have written to me after buying a document or a photograph on eBay telling me how grateful they were that I had found the photo because this was a member of their family that is deceased or whatnot. And in both of those instances, that's something that was completely light work. I'm giving all these people joy. They're getting happiness and light from what I'm doing, and I didn't set out to do that. That wasn't my intent. There was no conscious thought about that whatsoever. However, the thing of it is that when that happens, you have to be able to recognize it and acknowledge it. And the more that you acknowledge things, the more the universe sends your way. So in terms of being more woke or not, I think a lot of the issues that people have feeling like they're not as woke actually centers around the second part of her comment, which was, you know, struggling with the meditation. And when you first start becoming aware of your gifts and you first start on this spiritual journey and you start researching things, there's all these rules, right? If you go to YouTube, there's plenty of people talking about how to sit up straight and how to breathe and sit cross-legged and use this crystal and use this charm and use this chant and use this and do that. And there's all these different rules. And I think people get lost in looking for the way to find their gifts rather than already looking in the past. And what I mean is that overwhelmingly the majority of you already have had your gifts shown to you, you just haven't recognized them. Okay? Look back into whether it's your recent past or even, you know, further down the road. There's going to be things that brought people joy that they came to you and said, hey, I really like that. I really resonate with this. That's your light work. That's your path. That's your passion. And a lot of people just don't recognize it, you know. So it doesn't come to them more because what the universe will do, more than in meditation, more than, you know, in deep breathing exercises and all of these things, and I don't mean to disparage those things, but what I'm saying is that is not the only way. And overwhelmingly, you see a lot of people that say, yeah, I try to meditate, I can't get there. And I think a lot of what is happening is that people's gifts are being illuminated to them. They're just looking in the wrong places. They're looking towards these things, whether it be meditation or crystals or, you know, mud baths or whatever it might be. They're looking to these things to show them what their gift is, when the universe has already brought them people and messages to kind of say, hey, do more of this. Hey, do that. I like this. I like that. But we're so busy focused on what we think the rules are of spirituality, that we have to meditate to get the answers, so to speak, that we're not paying attention to the universe already sending us those messages from the outside. And then, like I said, if they're saying you what your light work is. If they're telling you what your light work is and you're not acknowledging it and recognizing it, well, they're not going to send you more. You know, there's a limit to it as far as how many times, you know, they're going to knock you upside the head in hopes, but eventually, you know, they're going to let it go and say, well, I guess, you know, this is just not what they're going to do this time around. So before you get too lost in attempting to meditate and work with crystals and charms and all of these things, which I work with crystals, so don't get me wrong, okay? But, you know, I use them for a very specific intent. I don't use them for general things. But before you get too lost in all of that, especially if you're somebody who's just, you know, as they say, waking up to your gifts, make sure that you're going back in your own personal experience and looking at what other people are saying to you, because I guarantee you that's the number one thing that's the number one mechanism that the universe is going to use to bring to you into your focus what it is that you're doing that's going to bring other people joy, which is light work, right? Okay, you don't have to be a massage therapist or a medium or do Reiki or any of these other things. You know, that is light work, but that is not the only light work, okay? The fact that for, you know, 20-something years now, I've been getting emails from people thanking them because this is the only piece of paper they have signed by their grandfather or the only photograph they have of their father. That's light work. And I didn't set out to do it, and it took me a while to get there. After a while, I started recognizing how good it made me feel and how good they felt. And I'm like, well, shoot, this is just what I'm going to do as part of my life. So many, many, many times those answers are already there. So do not get too stuck looking to using the tools. Now, once you recognize and acknowledge what your gifts are, then they will start to multiply rapidly. They will multiply and they'll add to it. Okay, and if you continue to pay attention, and then that is where I think crystal work, meditation, yoga, these sorts of things, I think that is where it comes in handy. I think once you've actually figured out, okay, this is what I do, this is who I am, this is my work. Once you get there, then you're not so bogged down with trying to figure out the what of it, okay? You're not so bogged down trying to figure out what it is. Then you can use those tools, meditation, etc., to fine-tune it, to figure out, okay, I need to know, this is what I'm going to do. Should I do this as a business? Should I do this as a hobby? Should I do this just for friends and family? How should I use my gifts? I think those tools are much better served once you've cleared that thing out of your mind of what is my gift. And that's just been my experience, and I'm curious to hear other people's experiences. But overwhelmingly, what I've seen is people getting stuck in the space of how to figure out what your gifts are. And overwhelmingly, that message has already been sent to you. So that's going to take just some quiet reflection time. But the other part to that is sometimes it's not quiet reflection time, okay? For me, that does work on occasion, but to be honest with you, the overwhelming majority of the times when I finally get, oh, that's what it is when I get frustrated. And Karen will probably pop on and talk about something about human design with that and the channels and everything. But it is what it is for me. I've learned over the course of the years, and I've tried to fight it, and I've just had to accept that for me, the heaviest messages and the best manifestations come to me when I work from a place of frustration. And you're probably going to hear, you know, all the yoga gurus tell you how you have to always come at things from a positive point of view. And I hate to tell you, that is not the truth at all, because I am living proof of it. Overwhelmingly, it's almost a perfect record of if I attempt to manifest or get a message from a point of frustration, boom. If I attempt to manifest or get a message from a place of I'm really happy, I'm great, I'm in this space, and I just want to know more, I get crickets. I get a blank frickin' stare every time. So don't let anybody tell you that you have to be positive 100% of the time. we are human. We are not wired that way. We are not built that way. Nobody is positive 100% of the time. And if they are presenting themselves that way, that means behind closed doors, okay? Trust the people that are willing to put their stuff out there. They're the ones that are going to have crystal clear answers for you. And, you know, inevitably, those are the people that are going to be delivering the messages to you. And when you pay attention to those things, it really is an eye-opener, because once you start to recognize that it's not always the friendly, happy people that are delivering messages to you, then once you realize that, and you start to think, oh, maybe I've been discounting, I've been discounting some messages coming from people because it hasn't been delivered in a happy, sunshine and rainbows way, then you can start to go backwards and reverse engineer things. And then that's when you really start to see some of the patterns and maybe some of the places in your life where you've gone wrong. Because, you know, we all do it, right? We hear something from somebody that they don't really resonate with them, right? We're not really buddy up with them. They say something and like, yeah, I ain't listening to that. But if we're all honest with each other, many times later on, we're like, oh, geez, they were right, and that sucks, and I didn't listen. But if you acknowledge that and you're willing to go back and beat yourself over the head with the truth a little bit, it doesn't mean you have to call them or email them and go, you were right, I was wrong. That helps sometimes, okay? But if you just get to the point where you're willing to admit it to yourself and grow from there, then I cannot express the speed at which things happen. Once you're willing to admit those things to yourself, and once you can go back and look and see what you've done and how the universe has sent people to you, basically they just walked up to you to flick you in the ear and walk away, and you just ignored the flick because you thought they were a jerk. Okay? Once you get to the point where you recognize that, the speed at which you can just, you know, like I say, reverse engineer your past, and you just see it. You just see it like a movie. You just see all these things that you've done and have happened to you, and boom, you're in the present. And then now, just stay there. Just stay in the present. Watch what comes to you and react from a place of knowing that, okay, not everything that happens to me is for a reason, but many times it is. And when you're able to look at things and say, okay, I recognize this pattern, I see how I've reacted in the past and how it's turned out for me, and I don't like that so much, so I'm going to change how I react. The speed at which you wake up, I hate to use that terminology, but that is the terminology we've all been using, but the speed in which you acknowledge your gifts and then those gifts are delivered to you, it just multiplies exponentially. I cannot express that enough. So, all right. That's the third video I've recorded today. I'm going to put one up each day so my voice is gone. You can hear that. So thank you everybody for watching. Please make sure you like the video, share the video. That is the biggest thing you can do to help us both out. Karen and I are definitely trying to build the business, build the brand. And the lightworkforlightworkers.com is the website. It's the Facebook group. It's the name of the YouTube channel. Make sure also, if you want to check us out on the website, I am a medium, I am an intuitive, and we do a multitude of different readings where I use my gifts as channeler and as getting gifts from, getting messages from the deceased. And Karen uses her intuition and a lot of human design, and we do a multitude of different readings. So definitely check that out on the website if you're interested. Otherwise, thank you all for watching, and I will see you again in the next video.